Hey guys, it's Monica at Academic Phoenix Plus, and welcome to the rigging tutorial of this gingerbread man or gingerbread cookie. It's up to you. In the last video tutorials, we modeled it, we UV mapped it, and we textured it. Now we are ready to rig it so that we can bring it to life. If you are new to this channel, I post tutorials on a weekly basis. Software includes Maya, ZBrush, and Substance Painter. So if that is your sort of thing, please consider subscribing. So bring out your creativity, open up that software, and let's go ahead and get started in rigging this little gingerbread man. All right, this is what we have so far. He looks a little weird, but when we render him, he looks so much better. It's got some surface, all sorts of stuff. Let's put some joints on this little guy. So we are going to go to the front view. And I'm not a big fan of the shading. We're just going to go ahead and press the number 5 on your keyboard, which will just make it look like this. Basic Lambert. Top left, we have a pull down menu for rigging. Now, if you guys haven't seen my introduction to rigging, I highly recommend it because I'm going to go kind of fast. I'm assuming that you know what joints are, how to do controllers, constraints, and stuff like that. If you don't know about that, please go ahead and take a look at my playlist on how to rig. I show you how to just a basic introduction of rigging. And then I also do a person and a bunch of other stuff. So if you want to learn a little bit of rigging, please take a look at that playlist. All right, let's go ahead and create some joints. I'm going to start off with the spine. Here's the pelvis. And notice that we can't see it. So let's turn on this little guy right here, which is the transparency joint. Hold down shift and give yourself a couple of joints. There we go. Again, if you want to move some of them down, you can click the letter D and it will just move the joint. Things like that. Ta-da. Now, if you want them to be perfectly even, you can actually take a look here. And this one's about 1.3. So I'm going to type in 1.3. Then I can grab the next joint and type in 1.3. And then you can grab the next joint and type in 1.3. So that makes it basically even. This is going to be the spine. So in the side view, I am going to click again on the transparency node here, which makes the joints. And I just want to make sure this is actually on the spine. So I'm going to move this back, so that the spine is back here, right? So when it bends, it's gonna bend appropriately. Let's open this up by clicking on Shift and click on that little plus sign, which will open all the joints. Select them and let's go to Modify, Search, and Replace. And I'm gonna change joint, and this is case sensitive, so joint to spine. Replace. I do need a pelvis joint, so let's go ahead and create a pelvis. Pink, that's my pelvis. Some people call this the root joint, so totally up to you. So I'm going to do is select this one, shift select the pelvis and hit on the letter P on your keyboard. Right. So what that means is that if I move this, everything will go with it, which is what I want. All right, let's go ahead and work on the legs. Let's grab some joints. We're going to start off with the thigh. I'm assuming there's a knee. It's kind of hard to tell. This is the ankle and this is the foot. Perfect. So we're going to relabel everything. So this is going to be my R, which stands for right. Right hip. I wrote hop. It's actually hip. Right knee. Right ankle. And then right foot. Cool. What we're going to do next is mirror it to the other side. So let's go to skeleton. Mirror joints options, and we want to flip it to the YZ, and what we're searching is for R underscore, and we want to replace it with L underscore. So that's going to change it to from right to left, and then apply, and then it goes to the other side. And what's great is that it's already, set up. So I'm going to select all of these, and we can always click these little 3 buttons. We also want to make sure that we are orienting our joints. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we are orienting our joints. So now we want is our arm. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to click on, well, usually you have like a clavicle. So this is going to be my clavicle, right? So that's a clavicle. This is going to be the shoulder, which I'm going to place over here. Click on the shoulder. Pink. And then we have the shoulder. We need the elbow. We need the wrist. And then we need the hand. Something like that. So this is going to be basically the clavicle, our clavicle. Our shoulder, our elbow, our wrist, our hand. Right, so if we grab the shoulder, this will happen. If we grab, let's go to skeleton. We're going to do the mirror joints again. Bink, and there we go. Awesome. All right, let's start parenting things together. So let's go to perspective view so we can see what's going on. And, wrong one. Bink. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that the leg is following the pelvis. So grab the leg or the hip, select the pelvis, hit P, and we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So what happens is that when you select it, the whole joint moves. So that's why people call it the root joint, is because it basically, everything gets influenced by it. All right, so I'm going to move this down just a little bit. And what we're going to do is select this guy, shift select the spine, click on the letter P. We're going to do the same thing to the clavicle, select that one, click on the letter P. And that basically means that everything is now parented. The head, so we're going to select the top joint, click on the joint tool. We're going to do a neck. Whoop, sorry, that's why you have to do it in this view. Try again, select it, select the joint tool. If it doesn't let you do it, that's okay, I can always parent it. What we need is a neck, and then we need the head. Press enter. Then we're going to select the head, shift select the spine, click on the letter P. So this is going to be my neck, and this is going to be my head. So far, so good. You can select all the joints and just type in the radius 0.5, so all of them are the same size. If you want to, you can even go a little smaller. So notice that it only changed one of them. Go ahead and hit on the plus sign here on the left in your pelvis. And you need to select all of them. And there you can click and drag all of them, but I'm going to show you a little script. So down here at the bottom, we have a mail script. If you type in select hyphen or minus sign HI, which stands for select hierarchy, it will select the whole hierarchy, which is what I want. So I'm going to put this in as 0.5, or you can always change this to 0.3. So it just makes it a little bit easier to see the joints. All right, let's make sure to save. I do want to go ahead and create the controllers. So let's start off with the head. We're going to go to curves, and we're going to probably grab a bunch of these circles, but let's start off with this one. I'm going to flip it 90 degrees, lift it up. And again, I'm going to go to the front view and actually maybe hide the lights. There we go. I'm going to lift it up. So the key to this is that I want people to be able to see the controller and think, okay, this is the head. And since the head is the shape of a circle, I think it's going to be fine. The trick though is to move the pivot point. So click on the letter D and make sure that it's in the neck joint. Right, so the one way is to click on the letter D, and you just want to make sure the pivot point of that curve is inside there. So let's go back into poly modeling, delete everything. Oh, I should not have centered the pivot. Just freeze the transformations and delete the history. And this is going to be the head controller. Cool, let's do the pelvis next. Let's grab a circle, move it up. I'm going to snap it to the pelvis. So V middle mouse and snap. And V middle mouse and snap again until you get it inside the pelvis there. All right, perfect. And so that's going to be the pelvis that controls the body. So I am going to make it look a little bit different than all the other ones. And I'm actually going to rebuild the curve. So you're going to be learning a bunch of stuff in this tutorial. Let's see, this is under modeling, and we are going to go to curves. I'm going to rebuild curve, and instead of 4, which is the default, actually let me reset my setting to make sure we have the same thing. Let's do 16. Rebuild. So now when I open it up, you're going to see that's got a lot more control points that I can play with. So now I can grab like every other, press R and scale it. Right, so now I've got this really interesting shape. And the purpose for that is so that it's different, so people can find it and it's easy to grab. So I'm going to try to just make it a little bit different than all the other ones. It kind of sticks out a lot in this direction, so if you wanted to, you can crush it a little bit. All right, so it keeps it more closer to the body. Totally up to you, but that's one way of handling that one. Okay, the legs. Now, the legs are a little bit strange because they're actually stretched out in this direction, right? But let's go ahead and grab a circle. Again, I'm going to go to the top view to design it a little bit. So I want to try to make it look like a foot, a little bit like a foot. So let's bring this in here. Does that look like a shoe to you guys? Hopefully. All right, so this is gonna go here. Actually, let me make sure that this is called the pelvis controller. And again, you might want to, you actually need to delete these because if you move them, it has these values, right? That's important. And when it's 0, 0, that means that the joint's at 0, 0. All right, so let's go here. Freeze the transformations, all that stuff, duplicate it, and then change this to -1 on the X, which is gonna mirror it to the other side. All right, so let's go ahead, go back into rigging. We're gonna go to skeleton, and we're gonna go to create IK handle options. And I do want the rotate plane because I wanted to click on sticky. And I do want the knee to be aiming somewhere. So before I get started, let me grab this joint and I want the knee to rotate this direction. So go ahead and rotate this on the Y and then select the hip. And this is where we go to set preferred angle. So what that means is that if it bends in the IK, it's going to rotate on the Y, right? So here's an example. Let's grab this, click on that. And you can already see that the angle is pointing at this direction. Now I'm going to have a controller that controls that. But in general, if I grab this, then he's going to bend forward versus otherwise it might bend in some random direction. Right. So let me show you what that looks like if I just kind of grab it. Notice that this joint is the pull vector, which is that little triangle sticking out of it, is now pointing this direction. So if I bend it, Maya just guessed. Maya's like, okay, I'm going to bend it this way. So that's why we set our preferred angle. So let me undo that. I'm going to grab the knee, bend it to the direction that I want it to bend, right? So around -30. Grab this one, tell it, all right, this is the set preferred angle. So this is the angle that I prefer. Click on that, change this one back to 0 because this is the default. And then click once, click twice, and notice that the pull vector is facing forward. And that's exactly what we want. All right, so this is the right foot control. And this one is going to be the left foot control. Okay, now we're going to grab the IK handle. Now the trick is that we want this point to actually be up here. So if somebody grabs this, we want the foot to move along. Right, and then the leg, and then we want the feet to be on its own. So let's go ahead and click on the letter D on the keyboard, hold down V, middle mouse, and snap it, and try to snap it to the center of the ankle, which it is. So that's V, middle mouse, and snap. Click on D again, and we'll do it to the other side. Click on D, which moves the pivot. Hold down V for victory or vertex, and then middle mouse and snap. So it's middle mouse, click and hover. You can manually do this yourself, of course, but that's just a fast way of doing it. Grab the controller. Let's see where the IK handle is. It's right here. Whoops, wrong one. This one. And we want to go to constraint parent, which puts a constraint of translate X. All the translates and the rotates on the controller. So now when you grab it, it will bend the leg. Now we do have a foot, so we are going to have to create some controllers for that, but basically how it works. So let's do that again. On the other side, we're going to select the foot, then the handle, constraint, parent. So my mistake, as you can see, is that I did not freeze the transformations for this. So that's why when I go to translate 7, that's my mistake. I can go ahead and try to freeze it right now. And lucky for me, the constraint didn't break or anything, so that's good. Usually that doesn't work. You usually have to recreate everything. All right, so let's create a knee control. We can make our own if you like, which would be fun to show you guys how to do that. Let's create a curve, EP curve tool, and some people will just kind of make a swirl. It's probably going to be an ugly swirl. I'm not great at that. I can always fix it, control vertices, and just kind of try to tweak the twirl a little bit. Again, you guys don't have to do this. It's more like an example of that you can design your own controllers if you choose to. The most important part is where the pivot point is located. And a swirl doesn't scream knee either, so it might not be the best choice, but I thought it was just kind of fun. And it's, it's a gingerbread cookie, so we might as well make it cute. Including the controllers can be cute. There we go, a little swirl. Maybe I'll rotate it like this. Is that more noticeable? All right, let's put it in front of the knee. Whoops. It's around here. Bring it forward so it's easy to see. Hopefully it's in front of the knee. Let me just make sure it's actually in front. Whoop. So, all right. So let's go ahead and center the pivot, delete the history, freeze the transformations. And what we're going to do is, relabel. This is going to be my right knee control. And actually, let me label my IK handles. This is my left leg IK handle. And then the other one is the right leg IK handle. And you don't need the numbers at the end. So if you want to get rid of those two, you can. Okay. So we're going to select the controller, let me duplicate it actually before I forget. Relabel it. It's all about labeling everything. I haven't saved. Don't forget to save. Okay. So I've got my knee controller. Make sure they're basically in front of the knee. And we're going to select, again, don't forget to, it's really important that you clear any type of information so that it's a nice, simple controller and that's it. No translates, nothing strange. And then select the controller, shift select or control select the IK handle. And then we are going to go to constraint, pull vector. There you go. So what that means is that the pull vector will always be facing it. So if I take this object here and let's say I lift the knee and it bends it, it's a little hard to see right now. There it is. You see how it's bending? I can take this knee controller and move it around. So that gives you a chance to animate the knee and stuff like that, which is important. It gives the animator control. And that's all that you're doing as a rigger, is giving the animator all the control that they need to be a successful animation. We're going to do the same thing. Grab the left knee controller, select the left leg IK handle, and we're going to go to constraint pull vector. There you go. So same story. The animator moves the leg, grabs this, moves it around, and you can see that the knee follows. Awesome. Okay, the foot. Let's go to skeleton IK handle, create IK handle options, because we don't want the rotate plane. The rotate plane gives us that pull vector. This one just gives us a regular IK handle, which is what we want. So we're going to grab the single chain solver and we're going to click on the ankle and the foot, and that's going to give us an IK handle. The nice thing about this IK handle is that I can take it and move it around, and this will control the foot. Again, I don't need, I don't have toes. I don't have anything wild. So this was perfect. Very simple for a simple character. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and label this my left foot IK handle. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Click, click. And this is going to be my right foot IK handle. Again, you can get rid of those numbers because we don't need them. All right. We're going to constrain them. Select the parent. Select the child, which is the IK handle. So the parent is the controller. The IK handle is the child. And we're going to constrain parent. And let's do that to the other side. Parent, child, constraint, parent. So wherever this goes, and if I rotate it, the foot can rotate too. Whee! So it does a multi-purpose thing. It will actually move the character forward. Also bends the knee, and you can also rotate it now. Yay! Perfect. Cool. Cool. Okay, the pelvis. So we're going to grab the parent, grab the pelvis, and we are going to constraint parent. We want to make sure that maintain offset is on. Mine already is on because of previous rigging, but make sure maintain offset is on. So what's going to happen is I'm going to grab this, and then the pelvis goes with it. Now you'll notice that we have what's called sticky legs. That means that when my character bends, the knees bend, but the legs don't bend. So if you guys wanted to have the character's leg goes down, you're going to have to counter animate it. All right, let's do another controller for the spine, the top of the spine, so that it can move independently. So this time I'm going to maybe create a square to kind of separate it from everything else. And if you want this higher, some people like this higher. I'm going to grab both of them. You can just go to control vertices and whoops, try to avoid grabbing the IK handle and just lift it. The important part is that the controller point stays where it's at. So you still can manipulate these things as long as you're in vertex mode. All right, I'm going to create a square. Now I know there's a square here, but the problem with this square is that when you click on it, it's going to create a group, and it said here has 3 independent pieces, and we want it to be by itself. So I'm going to go to the top view. Again, I'm going to hide the lights, pink, and I'm going to create my own, which is going to be P-curve to options, and I'm going to choose linear. Click, 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 click. And it's not perfect, but that's okay. I can fix it. I'm going to go to my control vertices and basically just scale these together. So this one's going to scale this direction. This is going to get scaled this direction. This is going to get scaled this direction. Whoops. And I just want to make sure my points are intersected. So there we go. Now I have a square. Don't forget to click these 3 buttons. And we now can we can actually change this into a rectangle, but let's go ahead and place it here. And of course, we're going to lift it up. So it's up to you if this is helpful. I actually don't think it is. I might use it for something else. So instead, I'm going to grab a circle and I'm going to stretch it out. And I might make it do something like this instead. All right, let me just make sure I'm in object mode. Let me snap it over here. Snap. So at least it looks like the shape, and it's going to be easier to grab. Now I see that the back is a little bit more forward, so I'm just going to grab all the vertices. Now notice that it grabs the joints, right? So you can turn that off here, and it will actually just turn off the joints. Now this is just moving the curve. It's not moving the pivot point, so that's what makes this great and convenient. All right, there you go. So hopefully people will be like, okay, I can grab this, and they understand that it will grab the spine. All right, I think that's a good place to stop. We have the head, we have the feet, we have the pelvis. The next part is going to be the spine, the arms, and of course, binding and all of that jazz. It's multiple steps to get something to move, even as simple as a cookie. But as you can see, once this comes together, I'll be able to animate it, and it will be ready to come to life. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you learned a thing or two. If you did, please like and subscribe. That is your message to me, letting me know that you like this content and that you want to see more. Also, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this tutorial. When you get a chance, take a look at academicphoenixplus.com. There you can find free downloads, free resources, ebooks, and so much more. Take a look at my e-courses. I do sell a couple of e-courses. There you can get a deep dive into Maya, including modeling, texturing, lighting, and so much more. Again, thank you so much for watching. Keep creating, and I will see you next when we keep working on rigging the gingerbread man / cookie.